Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 15.6D. I've entitled this video, LBJ and the Great Society. This video is going to cover pages 942 to 943. President Johnson carries on. "Let us continue," said Johnson. He steered many of Kennedy's proposals through Congress. In November 1964, voters returned Johnson to the White House in a landslide victory. As you can see by this Electoral College map, this was a clean sweep here for Johnson, electorally. Question number 47. Who won the presidential election of 1964? That would be Lyndon Baines Johnson, or LBJ, or Johnson. He was Kennedy's vice president who took over, and Americans were fully supportive of his ability to lead us, and so he did get reelected. Johnson had his own program. He called it the Great Society. It boldly aimed to create a decent living standard for every American. In a first step, Johnson declared a, quote, war on poverty. Question 48. What was the main goal of LBJ's Great Society? He wanted to have a country where everyone had a decent standard of living. Congress had not supported Kennedy's poverty program. However, Johnson was more persuasive. Using his years of political experience, he pressured members of Congress individually and personally. In just 2 years, Johnson pushed 50 new laws through Congress. And he did this in part, and we can answer question 48 with this, how was LBJ able to get Congress to support him in his programs? In something called the Johnson treatment. As you can see in these different pictures, what Johnson would do is he was pretty tall, and he would use his physical appearance and get right into your grill, so right into your personal bubbles. You can see examples here, and he wasn't afraid to do that. There are some, of course, stories about President Johnson and how he was able to be pretty intimidating physically. We're not going to get into those stories, but Johnson had a way of intimidating people with his physical presence. And so he did get Congress to support a lot of the programs that Kennedy was unable to do. And some have argued maybe Kennedy's assassination in some ways helped some of these programs get through in a way that maybe they wouldn't have been able to with President Kennedy. Johnson's plan. The Great Society had many programs. Under Medicare, the government helped pay hospital costs for senior citizens. Medicaid gave states money to help poor citizens with medical bills. A new Office of Economic Opportunity created job training programs for the unemployed. It gave loans to needy farmers and to businesses in poor sections of cities. Question number 50. What is the main purpose of Medicare? To give assistance for senior citizens for their medical bills. Question 51. What is the main purpose of Medicaid? Medicaid's job is to give money and assistance to help poor people or people who are economically disadvantaged with their medical bills. Question 53. Which department was created, 52. What was the main purpose of the Office of the Economic Opportunity? Well, they were trying to help people who were unemployed have an opportunity to get job training so they could get a job to help better their lives. It also gave loans to people who needed that assistance, like farmers who needed that money, and businesses in poorer sections of the cities to try to revitalize those sections of these urban centers that had gone into some decay in that time. Programs to build housing for low-income and middle-income families were also part of the Great Society. To carry out these programs, Congress established the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. Robert Weaver headed the department. He was the first African American ever appointed to the cabinet. Question 53. Which department was created to help create housing for low and middle income families? HUD, or the Housing and Urban Development Department. The Great Society had mixed success. It aided the poor, but at great cost to taxpayers. Government grew in size, and corruption sometimes plagued anti-poverty programs. Still, Medicare, Medicaid, and other reforms helped millions and continue to do so today. So the final question for today, 54. Why did the textbook say the Great Society had mixed results? Well, it had mixed results because in a good way, Programs like Medicare and Medicaid and these programs, they do help people who are struggling. On the flip side, it had mixed success in a negative way because our government expanded. You can see Uncle Sam here has gotten quite large. You see, in order to pay for these programs, government had to grow in size. And some say government's gotten out of control with the spending. As you know, our debt is extremely high. So our spending has gotten out of control. And maybe government was doing things that originally the Founding Fathers didn't envision it to do. And sometimes there was corruption that plagued the programs. And actually, if you look at the poverty rates and compare them from the 1960s to today, they've been pretty consistent. And so it's hard to argue that the Great Society worked if the poverty rate is still around the same percentage point. On the flip side, then our arguments would be made that, well, look at how many people it's actually helped. Would the poverty rate be higher if it weren't for those programs? So these debates still go on in our country today. How big should our government be? Well, thank you so much for watching. Before we go, we have a joke based on health and Medicare. What kind of insurance would Moses have if he were still alive today? Medicare Part C. If you get that joke, you maybe chuckled. If not, that's okay. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.